Hello everyone, I'm Rachel and I welcome you all to Executive Corner Expert Talks. Today I'm speaking with Dr Oleksandra Molloy. She is a lecturer in aviation at the School of Engineering and IT at UNSW in Canberra. Her research topic is training young novice operators, drivers and pilots. Here at Kalkine, we bring you industry leaders, successful business owners, market and equity advocates, all under one roof to help you discover the insights of the stock market and help you understand how you can create multiple passive income streams. Dr. Oleksandra, it's a very good pleasure to meet you today.
Thank you, Rachel, and it's a pleasure to be here today.
Now, I did mention some of your areas of research there. Could you elaborate on those for me and explain how connected is driving a car to flying a plane?
That's a very interesting question, and my background research is actually in training education in human factors, which combines engineering, education, design, psychology, as well as aviation and road safety research. When we talk about any high hazardous area and training of the operators, developing of those non-technical skills, and when I say non-technical skills, I mean risk management, decision making, situation awareness, and many more. So when it comes to training, there are interventions that really works from one high hazardous industry to another to develop those skills. And it is evident from the number of research that I've been conducting in aviation safety as well as in road safety, and particularly when training young novice operators.
Now, looking to the roads, obviously speeding is a huge problem nationwide. How do you believe novice drivers can improve their speed management behaviour?
There is historically a 3 E's approach, which is engineering, education, and enforcement. So I think these 3 components and approaches should work as a system to achieve that safety result and reduce the numbers that we can see still in the statistics. So one of the approaches that can reduce speeding is mainly in their influence in their cognitive-based training. So to influence their awareness and perception of speed in itself. When we look at the statistics or overall, it seems that there are different types of drivers. And let's say not all young novice drivers speed on the roads, but others do. And there can be like different typology, including those drivers that can be in a category of manipulators, deterred drivers, and defiers or confirmants. So, and we need to find that approach that works for all of the types of drivers. So, one of the particular training intervention is self-explanation, reflection, or feedback. That was found quite effective in improving both young novice pilots and young novice drivers. In particular, when the information and training is related to themselves and increases the awareness of the particular, for example, numbers of speeding or maximum speed or the average speed they're driving, the young drivers tend to attend to that. So the big problem that some drivers are not aware that they are speeding. They're not aware about the consequences and the likelihood of being involved into the accident or crash. So, and that's really a problem. And I think a research-based approach would help and would be quite effective in resolving this issue. Some of the recent research that has been done shows that really the approach should be simple, it should be easy to understand, and it should be effective. And that's the key in resolving this issue. And I think a number of researchers, not only myself, but working on this problem, not only in Australia, but around the world, as we know that speeding is the widely spread risky and illegal behavior, and it consists of 41% that contribute to the road crashes. So definitely there is a gap in training, there is a gap in the approach and the road safety approaches that with a concerted effort And as I mentioned before, with the engineering, enforcement, and education, we have to first teach our young drivers and then improve their behaviour.
So in your expert opinion, do you believe Australia's driving education is satisfactory, or is there scope for improvement? Do you think there could be anything that needs to be added to the driver's test education system?
The statistics really shows us that there are thousands of accidents happen due to speeding or speeding related crashes. So that can be, for example, inattention to driving, but in addition with the speeding factor and excessive speed, it really increases that likelihood and severity of the crash. So at this stage, it depends what we compare Australian education to. It is quite advanced compared to many countries around the world. However, if we are looking at the approach of eliminating and achieving the zero a reduction of errors, so that's really just you still need some effort. So, for example, in driver education, there is a standardized component of education and experience. For example, the graduate license system comprises of several stages, where it is believed that young drivers will have that sort of time to practice and also to learn about their driving education. The hazard perception training has been introduced, again with the aim to reduce any potential risks on the road. And still there is a gap because there is no component when young drivers going solo on their P driver's license. And according to the statistics, that's the most vulnerable stage in the graduate licenses system. Because when young drivers start driving on their own, they really underestimate the risks and sometimes overestimate their own skills. And as we know from the human factors perspective and the human performance approach, there are limitations that people need to be aware of, and particular young drivers need to develop that experience and skills to be able to drive safely on the road. So basically, really there is a gap where with a concerted effort and the research-based approach, we will be able, or hopefully will be able to reduce the number of violations, reduce the number of accidents related to speeding, and finally will improve young drivers' behaviour.
Absolutely. And if we could move on to pilots in training now, what are some of the cognitive-based training methods that you teach young people pursuing aviation?
It is really interesting that those approaches that really apply to themselves and where they can analyze their own performance, for example, self-explanation or reflection. These training approaches really show that after executing the flight or performing an action, when you receive a feedback from an instructor, and in addition analyze your performance, like what did I do wrong, could be done in different way, why have I done it, and what would I do differently next time, and really apply to yourself, shows quite a good promise in improving their behavior. However, in comparison to another cognitive-based training, which is reflection, and when they reflect to another pilot's performance, the performance and self-reported answer shows that really they underestimate their own skills and they believe that it will not happen to me. So with that approach, looking at another pilot's performance sometimes may work, but sometimes may increase their own skills in relation to piloting. And we also need to remember that both pilot's training or driving training is different components. So maybe it is easy to learn technically or technicalities, how to operate a motor vehicle or how to operate an aircraft, but enable to manage those skills and thinking about any other factors that influence in this high hazardous and very changing and dynamic environment is really important. because when we're driving or flying at planes, it's really a matter of several seconds to make a decision, and the decision should be right. So this is a particularly problematic area for young novice operators who have really limited experience in these particular areas, and there are lots of risks around us.
And just finally, with many pilots currently out of work, do you think this will push back the amount of new pilots able to be trained? What do you see as the future of aviation for wannabe pilots?
This is very, I would say, painful question. Why I say painful? Because that's how the pilots feel at the moment. As I read recently an article saying that half of the world's population, of the pilots' population, have been grounded. And it's really traumatic for them because they take their job really seriously. They love their job and they really live with their jobs. So, but I believe that after pandemic, there will be a really boom of flying and really the need of pilots. So that's where we will be looking, and the statistics will go up, and the need of pilots will be probably even 10 times more or even more than we need now. So it will be really growing and booming industry. So I believe that the current pilots and the new pilots will be in demand. That's for sure.
Excellent. Well, that is great news. It's been wonderful chatting with you today, Dr. Oleksandra. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. With that, I will sign off for today, but stay tuned to Kalkine for more informative interviews.